finally wrote it down, so I guess that means it's official. Hey friends, welcome to my channel. My name is Mandy and I'm a homeschooling mom of going on 10 years now. I cannot believe that. We're starting year 10 or 11 this year. That's wild to me. So I have one child who just recently graduated and I have another child who is starting 9th grade. So that's who we are going to be focusing on now, is my 9th grader. Last night I did all of week 1 lesson plans. So all the daily plans. So I have 1 week done in my planner and we're going to go over that. Now I school him in a Charlotte Mason style way. Not everything is super Charlotte Mason, but we do it to the best of our ability and based on the way that my child learns. So I'm not super strict with it, but I kind of use Charlotte Mason as a overall guide because that is how he learns best. So that's what I'm going to show you. Now keep in mind, I'm not a purist, just to put that out there. So if you see something like, that's not Charlotte Mason, that's why. We are not Charlotte Mason purists. We just do what is the best thing for our child specifically. So with that, I'm gonna take you over to my table and I'm going to show you a breakdown of our week 1 lesson plans in my Mardell planner. One thing I do kind of want to explain here is I have arthritis in both of my hands. So writing in general, like with a pen, is kind of difficult for me. So I have a lot of abbreviations in here and I don't fill out the whole box, as you can see, because again, I have arthritis and I know my limits, and my limit is way less than what these 2 pages are. So on the first page here, we have the subject in this column. I'm hoping I can get this in here. Okay. And then we have the dates. So here's August 11th, 12th, 13, and then on this page, we have 14 and 15. Okay, so we have 14 and 15, and then there's like a note column here. All right. So with this, I have Bible at the top because that's typically what we do first each day. And then I have the daily reading plan that we're going to be doing, our family worship that we do all together as a family each night. We're going through Matthew, and then here is the J.C. Ryle book that he's going to be reading, and he's only doing the preface here, and then on Friday, which is on this page, he's reading the questions, and we're going to just do that kind of narration style. So I just wrote that we're doing narration. Okay, so there's Bible for the week. History is the next block here. So because I am doing the extended schedule, and I'll hopefully have a link somewhere where you can check that out, I basically broke up world history into a 2-year type of thing instead of a 1 year. So we're going to read 1 textbook this year and 1 textbook next year. So I took their schedule and I extended it, so I doubled it. So here's what that looks like for the first week. So we're going to read on Monday the Introduction to Preparing the World for Jesus. And then we're going to read Unwrapping the Pharaohs, chapters 1 and 2. That's why you see UP here, because that is the title of the book we're going to be reading. We're going to be reading Unwrapping the Pharaohs, chapters 1 and 2. And then we're going to be going over some of the narration questions. He's really good at oral narration because we've been doing that. What is going to be new to him is written narrations. So we're going to try to add in some written narrations, but I'm not doing that week 1. I'll save that for maybe week 3. Now on Tuesday, because I'm extending the schedule, so everything for week 1 that they have in the history schedule for generations, week 1 in their book is going to be weeks 1 and 2 for me. So I'm basically putting in a space between each day. So we're doing nothing for Preparing the World for Jesus for Tuesday, but we're going to be reading Unwrapping the Pharaohs, chapters 3 and 4, and then maybe we'll do a little bit of oral narration, or we'll just talk about it. And then Wednesday, we're reading Preparing the World for Jesus, pages 1 through 10, and then Unwrapping the Pharaohs, chapters 5 and 6, and then narration. And then you kind of see the same pattern. So So nothing for Preparing the World for Jesus for Thursday, but we're reading Unwrapping the Pharaohs 7 and 8. And then Friday, we're reading Preparing the World for Jesus 11 through 21, the page numbers. And then we're doing Unwrapping the Pharaohs chapters 9 and 10 and doing some narration. So you see how there's like a day, so like Tuesday and Thursday, we're not doing anything those days. That's because those days are kind of like free days in between these 3 pages here. So we're just skipping a day in between each scheduled assignment that they have in the teacher book for history. So this next block is math and biology. So my son is doing geometry, so I don't really have to write a whole lot. I'm just writing lesson 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. And then for biology, he's starting module 1. So I looked in his Apologia book and I just kind of wrote down the page numbers and what module he's in. So he's on module 1, he's doing 1 through 11, and then like the on your own questions, and I abbreviate that with OYO. And then I just wrote down the page numbers because I can't do a whole lot of handwriting here. But he's got an experiment on Friday, so I always put a little stars by experiment just to make sure that I have everything that's in here. And I typically leave a little note to myself in this block like, hey, heads up, make sure that you check and make sure that we have everything for this experiment, because you know you forget those things. So there's what it looks like for math and science this week. All right, language arts. So we have a lot in language arts. We have Fix-It Grammar, which is this first one right here. Fix-It Grammar is Monday through Thursday. So I just have Fix-It 1, 2, 3, and 4, okay? Spelling, I have spelling Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. And sometimes I just put like these little arrows, like I just know like just to do spelling. I don't worry too much about that. Now with with IEW Structure and Style, I just have SNS. Video 1. I already know how this works. Monday and Tuesday are video days, and those are going to be his heavier days because those high school videos can be a little bit lengthy. So Monday and Tuesday I know is instructional video days, so I just put video 1, video 2. And then Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday I know he's going to be writing his rough draft and final draft, and then I just wrote for Friday that his paper is due right here. Okay, so now we get to the fun things, right? So we have electives here. I have 2 electives for him. I have Spanish, and I just went ahead and looked at his Spanish, and I'm not writing like super detailed stuff here because that's not what this is for. This is just so I know what's going on. So I'm going to end up looking at this anyway, so I'm just putting BJU Spanish lesson 1, and I know that he's got a video on these days. He's got a video Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and then review on Friday. So I have lesson 5 review right here. Sorry, you can't see that, can you? There you go. Lesson 5 review. And then his economics class is next, and that's here. So he's doing the introduction. And then Tuesday and Wednesday, he's reading chapter 1. And then Thursday and Friday, he has what's called the big project, which he's already got his big project underway. I'm not that worried about it. So these might end up being free days unless he's supposed to do something special with this project. But his project is already established and going. He's doing like a 3D printing type of business. So I'm not that worried about these 2 things here. So the last block here is the enrichments, which is a lot of stuff that is in this book here from Charlotte Mason, the Enrichment Studies Volume 1. And we're going to be doing like some of these. I'm not going to be doing everything that's in this book, okay? So I'm not following this to a T. I'm just doing some of the things that are in here and kind of like loosely following it. So we're doing lesson 1 enrichment book, lesson 1 through 5. So I have L1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then I have kind of what's up here. So Monday is portfolio and book of centuries. Tuesday is Spanish lessons. It's like a conversational type Spanish and poetry. And then I can't even read my own handwriting on lesson 3. So I'm just going to take a peek at what's in lesson 3 because I'm not sure exactly what I told you I have arthritis, so my hands, sometimes my handwriting, it just stinks. Okay, so, oh, Bach. Yeah, we're doing music study. We're doing Bach on this day here. And then Spanish again for Thursday, and then nature study and poetry on Friday. So that's what this all looks like. And hopefully I remember to check this, but the two things that I use stars with, because they stick out a little bit more, sometimes I highlight them. The two things I use stars with is experiments and testing. So anytime that there is a test in here, like he's got a math test or a science test coming up, that will get a little star as well. So that way it stands out to me, and I can tell him on Monday, hey, this is what this week looks like. And I might even write it on the board, like spelling test on Friday or math test Wednesday, that type of thing. And then that way he knows that he needs to be studying for those types of things. The rest of it, yeah, that's what it looks like. So I'm starting August 11th with this plan. So you guys will be seeing this after August 11th, but that's okay. That's what week 1 looks like. And then I typically start planning the next week, usually on Friday or Saturday. And I only plan 1 week at a time. So you can see like the next week is blank because something might come up. I don't know. I might get sick. My son might get sick. You know, there might be some type of emergency. I don't know. But I only do 1 week in advance. And that's why I can get away with writing in pen on this section here. So that is what my schedule looks like. All right, that is it for this video. I hope that you enjoyed doing lesson plans with me and seeing how week 1 is going to look. Now, if all goes according to schedule and all goes according to plan, this is what it'll look like. Now, will it actually look like that? I don't know. I'll find out a week from today, I guess. But I guess I've been doing this long enough to know that that's probably about how it's going to work out. I don't know in what order we're going to be doing everything. I'm following kind of like a loose schedule that I made myself, but I'm not going to hold myself hostage to that schedule that I made out. And yeah, I think it's going to be a lot of fun, though. I picked out some really great things, and he's got a really great lineup going for him. So I'm really happy to get this started. So I will let you know how it goes in another video, how our first week went. Maybe I'll do like an update on how week 1 went. I hope you all have a wonderful rest of your day, and I will see you next time. Happy homeschooling.